Hello guys, my name is Rizky from acreativealt, and today I'm going to talk about creative business. In this video, I'm going to share how to be good in sales as a creative person when you're not a salesperson. When you watch a lot of sales videos or motivational video, they always try to make you to be like a salesperson who can actually sell anything. Get you to sell the pen or whatsoever.
Sell me this pen.
Like, I think most of these sales tactics may not work for us as a creative people, because I think most of us has a different kind of a personality compared to those salespeople. But that doesn't mean that we can't do sales. There are many ways for us to be good in sales. It's just that may not be the right way to go. I've been in a creative line for about 14 years now, and throughout the years, I learned that the top level people in a creative line is always be the business people instead of the creative people itself, which to me sometimes is something that is really sad. When I started this channel, being a former lecturer, my intention was actually to help some of the creative people out there to understand a little bit more about the business aspect of things, which is going to be really useful if you're pursuing your career. And just to give a little bit of a background, I started my career as a 3D artist many years back in an events company, and I've been climbing up my way from two different companies. I was an art director for a while and also a creative producer before I decided to start my own business called acreativealt, and I've been running my own business for about 4 years now. And with acreativealt, we are very fortunate that we have completed more than 400 projects in the past 4 years. And no, I am not saying that I'm good at sales, definitely not. All the tips that I'm going to mention are tips that can be useful for people who are not natural born salespeople, including myself. When I was a designer and I was working with one of the largest events and exhibition company in Singapore, I was actually asking my big boss back then, and I was asking him, what is the difference between me and my boss, which is the creative director? And my ex-boss back then told me the biggest difference is the fact that he knows how to sell. So from there, I realized that in order for me to advance in my career, I have to understand the selling process and business aspects of things. So after working for another year for that particular company, I actually left the company and I decided to get a sales job. So I was actually a sales executive for a while, working for a high-end furniture company, which is still somewhat related to design. I was doing really badly at that particular company, and in fact, I was actually fired from that job after 6 months. Although I managed to close a couple of different sales, however, I am pretty far from my target. Back then, I was actually blaming a lot in the current market, because the fact that back then it was actually during the economic downturn. I think it was during 2008 period. I was also somewhat blaming my ex-boss back then, because the fact that I didn't get enough training. Of course, now I am very grateful that the fact that my ex-boss back then given me an opportunity. And although I did really badly back then, but I actually applies a lot of the knowledge that I gained through my sales experience to my business now. It actually benefited me a lot in my career after that. It actually allows me to learn many things that I won't be able to pick up as a creative. I was actually graduated from multimedia arts degree, and of course I learned a lot of the software side. I learned a lot of some pre-production, production, and so on and so forth. But I didn't learn on sales, of course. I didn't learn how to write a quotation, how to get the client to sign a purchase order, how to send an invoice, how to chase for payments, and all those things. Which I think if you are a creative person and you are doing management side of things, or of course if you are running your own business, this is something that is really important that all of us creative people tend to forget, because we are always be very passionate about our works, and we tend to spend a lot of time to improve on our works, but not on the sales side. So the first tip is, of course, something that a lot of us as a creative people can do, which is actually the reason why as a creative people, when we learn the sales part, we will definitely be stronger than simply just a salesperson who only know how to sell. And this is the reason why I hope that all creative people out there know how to sell. So the first thing is is instead of concentrating in selling, concentrate in making better products and understand it better. And this is what I meant. Many of us, the creative people, will not be able to be like those, salespeople whereby they say, you can sell ice to the Eskimos, you can sell air as gold or whatsoever. I don't think we can do that kind of directions of a salespeople. At least most of us can't. So instead of concentrating to be those, they concentrate in building a better quality product. When you have a really good quality product, it will be much easier for you to sell. And at the same time, as a creative people, you'll be more confident to sell it. After getting fired from my old sales job, I realized one thing that I didn't have back then, which is probably confidence, is the fact that many of the high-end products that we sell back then, I didn't even touch the product just yet. Sometimes, I feel like I am trying to con the client because I say that this product is really good, but I haven't even touched it. How can I know, right? That is one of my biggest challenges back then when I was selling high-end furnitures. But now, I know really well that we spend a lot of hours to improve our products. We spend a lot of hours to make our videos to be the best possible within the budget. So it will be much more comfortable for me to try to sell it. Secondly, you need to understand your pricing points. This is also something that I learned through my brief sales career. As an employee, you have to justify your salary. Therefore, I actually applied it to my next job back then. After I left my sales job, I was actually recruited as a lead designer for an events company. I actually applied that concept of you have to justify your salary to that particular job. When I was actually asking my boss for a raise, when I was actually asking my boss for bigger opportunities, bigger projects, whatsoever, I can justify that easily. I can say that, close these projects in the past 3 months, so therefore I think I can do this. I also apply to my business now, whereby I know the market rate on certain products, on certain services, so that's why I know how should I price my services. At acreativealt, we will never be the most expensive, but at the same time, we will never want to aim to be the lowest price as well. So by understanding pricings, you know how to make your service and your products more valuable. Next thing is aim to build a relationship rather than closing the sales. For many of us that has like certain type of personality, including myself, I'm not the best salesperson out there. So whenever I meet new clients, my aim has never been to close the project or make the sales. I always try my best to understand the person that I'll be working for, and at the same time, I always try to understand the client's mindset, what kind of things that the person actually needs, what kind of the requirement that he or she has, and of course, try to make new friends. I always try to aim to build a relationship, a long-lasting relationship with the clients, rather than simply just trying to make the sale for that particular project. And if you meet a lot of people, you will start to be able to see like what types of person that you can actually work the best with. For example, for my case, there will be many cases whereby I know exactly that this is not the right type of a client that can actually work well with me. So I will actually tell the client honestly. So I will tell the clients that I don't think I'm the right person for this particular project. So I think you probably need to hire someone else, so that both of us won't actually waste time by doing all these things. Whenever I close a project, my intention will never be to make a killing. This is what I meant, like certain people, certain salespeople can actually read the client. So an example, let's say your product is this amount, and the salesperson know that the client has more budget on it. Therefore, the salesperson will actually push for a larger budget, push for more upsell, whatsoever. For my case, that will never be my intention. Again, so instead of that, I never try to make a killing with just one project. Instead of trying to make a killing on one project, I always try to make a sustainable working relationship in the long run and see how can I help the client in the long run instead. Lastly is to be active on many different social media platforms. Of course, I don't think you can be active in any platforms unless that is actually your main source of income, or you are doing a B2C type of a business. But in my case, most of my projects are actually B2B, whereby it's actually dealing with different companies, and more inclined to be active on LinkedIn and Facebook instead of Instagram, TikTok, whatsoever. I think you need to be somewhat active on your chosen social media. People will be more comfortable to hire you if they get a glimpse of how you are as a person, instead of like random people from the internet. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I actually hire new staff or new team members, I always Google the person. I want to catch a bit of a glimpse of how he or she is as a person before I actually speak to the person. So I believe that many people who in the hiring level who are actually hiring contractors, they will actually do the same thing as well. This is why social media is important, although I also believe that you shouldn't spend too much time on social media and forget about other things. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video is useful, and I see you next time.